click just moves the cursor, right? But if I double click, let's say I want to, get rid of the name Jeremy, or create something. I can double click on the name or this one single word, and it selects the whole word Jeremy. If I want to select just one line, all I need to do is, notice right now when my mouse changes to the pointer arrow, when it does that, it's now in the margin. If I select over here, it's going to select the entire line. If I select over here, it gets that entire line. If I come down here, the entire line. So that's another way that we can do it if you just want one line of text. If you want a sentence, like let's say I just want this sentence. If you have any questions, now of course I can stand here and scroll and move my mouse over, and then, oh wait, I didn't get the period. Nope, no, I got too much. Nope, yeah, so you're struggling with it, right? Don't struggle. Take your mouse and hold down the control key, and then click anywhere in the sentence, and bada bing, bada boom, there you go. You now have the sentence selected. If you want the entire paragraph, this is kind of cool, you can triple click anywhere, and it will then choose the entire paragraph. So if I double click and then triple click, notice the double click got the questions, and then the triple got me the entire paragraph. Now this is important because this allows us to select large amounts of text. If I want everything in the whole document, here's the shortcut, Control A. And when you do that, it selects everything, and I can scroll down in the document. So I could have, 120 pages of material. If I hit Control A, everything is selected. Now, if I want to, I can also select certain portions of text at large periods by simply clicking here at the beginning, holding down the Shift key, and let's say I just want to come down here to where it says you could buy them from somewhere else. When I do that, and I click, and holding down the Shift key, it selects from the starting point to where I click again. So that's using the Shift key, which is kind of cool that we can use for something like that. And of course, if you just want to select things, you can use the F8 key. If I select here, and then I click on the F8 key, so all I need to do, select here, press F8, and what it's going to do is it's going to go into text selection mode. Now I can use my keys. I'm using my keys right here, and I'm just moving. You can kind of hear me punching the keyboard, or I can just keep continuing to move my mouse, and it will select everything else. Now when I hit F8 again, it's going to select everything. So you can go ahead and select the F8, and then you can click at the end of the selection. So if I go ahead and I click anywhere I want, and I'm like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute, I'm in F8 mode. It won't let me move or do anything. Just simply hit the Escape key, and now you're not in selection mode. Now when I click, it's no longer using the F8, which goes into selection mode. So those are just some ways and tips on how to select text. Now what if I want to move text or change text? Well, let's say I don't like the Dear Jeremy. Maybe I want to call him Mr. Chara. Well, I'll go ahead and just use the simple and just select those two words. And if I start typing Dear Mr. Chara, you'll notice that it went ahead and selected that. It starts replacing it. I don't like that. No, it's too formal. So I go ahead and select it again. I can go ahead and then select the Delete key, and then I can start typing again. Dear Jeremy. Or what I can simply do is hit the backspace key and start typing over. We'll type it back in. Or I can move the cursor to the left of the word, so here it is left, and use the Delete key, and that will delete everything to the right when I click on it. So these are just ways that you can remove text. So we'll go ahead and stick with Dear Jeremy. It works, and he's okay with that. Now what if I want to move a section of text from one point to another? Well, there's several options for me. So let's say, for example, I don't want this. If you have any questions, please call us and we'll make it right. In this paragraph, I want it up here in this paragraph. So what I can do is I can go ahead and double click or select any way that I want. I'll just go ahead and control click here so I can get the entire sentence. And then what I can do is I can come up here, and you'll notice on the clipboard I have several options. I can cut, which will remove the selection from the document, and it'll take the sentence right off the document and move it to the clipboard. I can copy it. Let's say I want to keep this one here and I want to create another time. I want to say it twice because I want to make sure that Jeremy understands. He can call us at any point in time. We can make it thing. Or I can go ahead and I can right click, and if you notice, it now says, all right, what do you want to do? I can now use the cut or copy commands just by using the right click. So I can use that as well. So these are just some options that you have in how to remove it. So let's go ahead and cut. I want to remove it from this section and move it up here. I'm going to go ahead and use on the ribbon bar here the cut. I hit the little key right there. It has now moved that sentence. It disappeared. It's gone, right? Where did it go? Well, it's out here on the clipboard. And you'll notice that now the paste button is now available to me. So I can now move my cursor over here to the beginning. I'll hit 2 spaces so that way I have space between this sentence and the next one I'm going to insert. I come up and I simply click the paste button. When I click that, it will then move anything that I have on the clipboard right here to that point. So I said you should have received it at this time. I hit double space and bada bing, bada boom, here it is. If you have any questions, please call us at 555-1212 and we'll make it right. Now you'll see something that as soon as I paste, I've given this paste options button. This paste option button allows me to choose how I want this text to appear once it's been pasted. So if I click the down arrow, it says, number one, I can keep the source formatting. So whatever font I'm using, whatever, if it's bold, whatever size the font is, I can keep that source formatting because maybe it's different down here than it is up here in this paragraph. Well, maybe I want to keep that. Okay, that's fine. Or I can match the destination formatting. Maybe down here, because this was like a header information or do something different, and now I want to make it a part of the actual paragraph, I can match the destination formatting. So whatever formatting, wherever I place that cursor, so in this case it'd be pretty simple, Calibri 11 point, no spacing, it will match that particular format. Or I can just say, look, I just want text only, no formatting, don't change it to match the destination, don't keep the source formatting, just put in standard body text. Now you can also set the default. The default right now is just keep your source formatting the way it is. You can set the default paste to be something different just by selecting this. So that's what this button, the paste options. Now, by the way, until I type something else or select something else, this will still appear. So even if I click over here, click anywhere else, notice the button's still there. But as soon as I come over here and let's say I select as a valued customer, and I make a formatting change or do anything, guess what? Let's say I change this to 12 point, boop, it disappeared. Notice it went away. You're done. Those options are now no longer available to you. Well, you might think that. There's another thing that we can do. What if you made a mistake? Let's say you didn't want to do that and you didn't like the way that you pasted it. What you can do is come up to your quick access toolbar and you can undo the formatting. And not only just once, like let's say I want to do just the font formatting. I can click that once and it'll do that. If I click the down arrow, it will then allow me to go down and do all of the changes up to, here are the 13 actions, and if I had more, it can go up to that. I can take away the paste, the typing, the cut, the typing of Jeremy. Maybe I spelled his name wrong. All the clears that I did, typing the dear Jeremy. I can undo all of these. So let's go ahead and go back to typing the Jeremy. So not only am I taking away the sentence, the typing of the 2 spaces and the cutting of that sentence, I'm also going to take away the typing of Jeremy, which is up here. I do that, boom, all the way back. Here's my sentence back, and notice I took away the typing of Jeremy. So the undo allows me to do that. No, wait, I want to do that. Well, all I need to do is I can click on the redo typing, and it will allow me to do that. I click on it again, it's going to redo the cut, and if I do it again, it's going to redo the typing of the 2 spaces, and so I can go back one step at a time by using the redo the redo button. Only on the undo can I do multiple things at one time. Redo is one step at a time. So we'll go ahead and just keep it the way it is, or I can undo the paste and the cut, and we bring it back down here. So that's one thing that we can do with editing and manipulating our text here. So just by selecting, using the paste and the cut and the options that we have here. So this is the way that we can manipulate the text here on our page. By the way, before we can move on into the spelling and grammar check, there's something that you probably have been noticing, and probably even in some of the other videos, and I haven't really talked about it, but when I was selecting some of this text, and then I move my mouse, you'll notice that this window appears. And this is, of course, your quick formatting pane that shows up anytime you select. Now, we'll talk about this when we get into formatting our text, but I just wanted you to know, because you're like, what is that thing that appears every time Chris is selecting and doing something? It is just the quick format pane that shows up and allows you to make any changes that you might want to your text. It's kind of grayed out, and then you just roll your mouse over it. Now, of course, if I move anywhere else, it kind of disappears, and I don't see it anymore. But that's what you saw when that was going on. So, Now, another thing that's probably been bothering you is you're like, Chris, I've been staring at this, letter to Jeremy, and I noticed that you've got these squiggly lines going on. What is that? Well, let's face it. Most of the time we are going to be typing and we're going to fat finger some word or do anything like that, and that's why you are going to want to have your grammar and spell check turned on, which is going to help make sure that you spell words correctly and that your sentences make sense. First, let's talk about spelling. If you take a look at this, we see that as we go through and as valued customers, and it says we sent out the replacement last week. Now, okay, that doesn't look right. In fact, the word is saying, hey, what's going on here? Replacement? And so it put a little squiggly line underneath. So what I can do is I know that what that means is that Word does not recognize this word. It is not in its dictionary. So what it does is it goes ahead and it puts a little red squiggly line. Now if I right-click on this word, it is going to give me a couple of options. Obviously, we've got the whole, if I want to paste something that's on the thing, and you can do spell check, but it's going to show you what it thinks the word I was trying to do, which is replacement. Now, I can, of course, just go ahead and say replacement, and it will replace, that word with replacement. I can ignore it just this once. It's going to say, well, maybe there's a different way of saying something. I can ignore every single time it says replacement in the entire document by clicking on ignore all, or I can add this to the dictionary. Now, this is good, especially if there's maybe a new word or there's a commonly used word or way that you spell something with a different type of caps and things like that. Maybe you use the word iPhone, but you used iPhone, and that's just the name of a company that you have. Maybe there is, I don't know, but you want to add that to the dictionary. You can do that. Now, be careful, because once you've added a word to the dictionary, when you run spell check, it will assume that that is an accurate word, and it will not check that. That brings me to probably a very important point. Just understand, as good as spell check is, and it's darn good here by the time you get to Office 2007, every year it gets better and better and better. The problem is there's always going to be that one funky word that just doesn't look right, or you might say there, T-H-E-R-E, when you really want to say T-H-E-I-R, and guess what? Those are both accurate spellings. Now the good news is your grammar has now been updated to where it will look for those type of misused words. Well, I thought I wanted to use T-H-E-R-E, but I really want to use T-H-E-I-R. In other words, there, they own it, versus there, where I'm going. So there's some options there. Now their autocorrect options are kind of cool, and we'll see this just a little bit later, is we can take a look at replacement and take a look at the autocorrect options that we have. So whether we want to automatically, change the word as we type and just make that change for us, make that change. Or we can also take a look at the language that I'm running. If I'm, if I'm typing in Spanish and I'm, typing in mañana for tomorrow, well, guess what? If I type in, hey, I'll see you mañana, it might not recognize that as an English word in the English dictionary, so it will say, hey, what's this? So you can change the language and set it for a different language and that it will find. You can also use custom dictionaries, which we're going to see in just a little bit. So if I come here and we send out the replacement, and I right-click and I say replacement, Notice it changes it, the word for me. Now there's another thing we can do. I'm going to go ahead and change this back to replacement. And that is, if you want to, instead of just going through and right-clicking on each one, maybe you have a ton